It's a tough day. Can y'all stand up here with me? Man. To the Finch family, ever since Coach Finch came in and recruited me out of Treadwell High School, we became family, and we'll always be family. I want you guys to know that. That's for life. You need me for anything, and I've told you this, Ms. Finch, you got it. And I appreciate you for that. Thank you. You know, we lost a great man, you know, a legend, my mentor. You know, Coach is gone, but he'll never be forgotten, never. You know, a lot of my teammates and I, we reminisce on the times, the old times and the funny moments that we had with Coach. And back in the 90s when we went on this magical run going to the Elite Eight, he would always have fun with our names. Like in a game, I can just always remember our teammates talking about how he would scream our names out in the game. It didn't matter if the 20,000, 30,000 people in the stands, we would always hear him from one end to the other. And that year, our team had a lot of guys that had Y's or E's on the end of their name. Tony Matlock, myself, Billy Smith, and Leon Mitchell, who was Lele. And all you heard throughout the game was, Tony, Lele, Penny, Billy. And we were like, wow. Like, okay, Coach, calm down. We got it. We got it under control. And for the most part, we did have it under control. You know, I got the call. I was in Vegas. Mr. Draper called me and told me that Coach Finch had passed. And immediately just started crying because it just took you back through all the years, what had been going on. And, you know, it's just been very hard. And I remember this image has just stayed with me forever. When we were in the Sweet 16 game, we were playing against Georgia Tech, and we beat Georgia Tech in overtime. And he turned around to the crowd and he held up one finger, like one more game before we got to the Final Four. And, of course, we didn't reach that goal, but it made me think about having, like, one wish. I just wish I had one wish. It wouldn't be to, you know, have more money. It wouldn't be to even make it back into the NBA. My wish would be that I wish I could turn back the hands of time to '92 and do it all over again with Coach. Thank you.
I'm supposed to speak about Coach Finch as a coach. But today I want to speak about a man that stepped into a father figure for me. Most people may not know that my parents could not come up my senior year and escort me out my senior year. Coach Finch had a busy schedule. But when I went to speak to him and asked him to speak and stand beside me my senior year, he hesitated and said, "Are you sure that's what you want?" I told him he had been there for 4 years, getting on me like a father. There was no one else I wanted to ask but him. He turned around, got up out his seat, gave me a hug and told me, "You shouldn't have never asked. I was going to be there anyway." There are so many things I remember about him. Him giving me shirts, telling me, you know, you're supposed to dress a certain way, right? I'm seeing arms. I see too much skin. Pulling out a shirt out his bag, giving it to me way too big. So I understand what Shanae went through them years. I want to also thank you, Mama Finch, for sharing what God gave you to all of us out here. I love you. I miss you, Daddy. Because he was more than a coach. Like I said, I called him Daddy Finch when I seen him across the field house, anywhere on campus. And believe me, he had much fear in me. If I heard he was coming through, I was like, well, am I supposed to be in practice? Do I supposed to be in class? I mean, a lot of you may know what I'm talking about. Just want to tell everybody, I lost more than a coach. I lost a father figure today. I want to tell him I love you and I miss you.
I wanted to write something down because I wanted to make sure I encompassed everything I wanted to say and a man who has really, really, really influenced my life. I'm grateful to have had Coach Finch as a father figure, as a coach, a role model, but more importantly, a friend. My life has been tremendously influenced by his presence. And I thank God that I had the opportunity to spend an hour and a half of the last 2 hours of his life on earth with him. And I thank him, God, for giving him to all of us, not just his family. And I had an opportunity to say to him what I always wanted to say and what I always had said before is, I love you. And that 2 minutes that I spent by his bedside before I left the hospital was the best time that I spent with Coach Finch the whole time I was with him. Because I had the chance to say I love you and I always will. You know, I once heard that the best asset in life was time, and that the best value was helping someone else. And so I'm reminded of Ephesians 2:10, which says, it is God himself who made us what we are, and he gives us new lives from Jesus Christ. And long ages ago, he planned that we should spend those lives helping others. And so Vicky and the rest of the family, Coach Finch's legacy does not lie in records. It does not lie in Final Fours or in photographs. His legacy, or even the name of buildings, but his legacy lies in people. And each one of us out here, we're his legacy. And so thank you again for sharing that legacy with us. God bless.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life. Apostle Williams, Elder Shirley, who are my spiritual parents, to all clergy, to everybody. It is indeed an honor and a privilege just to be before it, just to be able to share words about Coach. You know, something I thought about out of all this time that I've known him, that I've been around him, that I had the chance to sit down and talk to him. The only thing that I ever called him was Coach. Never was Larry, and it was always Coach. You know, and you know, he was always coaching. You know, whether it was basketball or the game of life. And to Mama, to Vicky, Shanae, Todd, James, to all the family members, just want to say I love you. I thank you, you know, for the opportunity just to be in your lives, you know, as well as Larry's. He was truly a blessing, and like we all have our stories, I definitely had mine. And how many of you know that, excuse me, angels come in all forms? And he came in the form of an angel to me about 11 o'clock, between 11 and 11:30 one night. It was storming outside. It was on a Monday. And I get a knock at my door. And Carl Palmer, who was a good friend of Larry's, teammate as well in high school, standing at the door. And he's wet. And Dre, you know, they tell me, Andre, something at the door for you. And I go to the door and I look, I say, hey, what's up, Carl? Larry want to see you. I'm like, man, I got school tomorrow. Larry want to see me for. But they knew through the recruiting process, they were Steve Mitchell, who's a very, very good friend of mine. They were recruiting, and they were recruiting the both of us. And so I had this great idea. I made up my mind. I was going to Auburn University. Yeah, so my mom couldn't tell me anything. Auburn. My mom was like, "Yeah, you going to Auburn?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm going to Auburn. I made up my mind." So that visit came that night, and they're storming outside. And Carl said, "Man, just come out to the car. Larry want to talk to you." And, you know, Larry was sitting outside in that gray Thunderbird. And so I grabbed my jacket and put it over my head and went down to the car, and I sat in that back seat, you know, just as confident, knew what I was going to tell him. Man, I'm going to Auburn. You can say what you want to say. And he turned around in the seat and looked at me and said, "Son, you ready to sign?" I said, "Coach, you're not the coach at Auburn?" I said, "Coach, y'all already, y'all recruiting other guys. Y'all, already kind of, I'm going somewhere else, man." "Son, I don't give a," Coach said, "Son, I don't care about those other guys. You're the point guard for this team." And throughout that night, for about a good hour and a half of talking in the rain, storming in front of my mom's house, where she still lives right now today, Coach Finch gave me the lecture. And he made me understand what it meant to be able to stay at home, to be able to let my loved ones see me play. And he's the reason that I was able to etch, carve out, and have everlasting memories of Memphis State University, the fans, my family, and just what it meant to be, a Tiger. And but I'm good today. I'm all right. Because I know he's in a better place. We love Coach, but God loves him best. And one day I'll see him there in basketball heaven. Thank you.